Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, riveting, and amazing Propagandacast. With me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero, psych defender of the fatherland, off here to a 1v1 on Langraskaya. My voice is still kind of rubbish, unfortunately, but I'll persevere, I hope. Just trying to stay clear of the two long matches, so off here to 1v1 in the north with Angreifen versus Borobadger, fighting here for the German army with the Groß Deutschland Panzergrenadier versus Borobadger and the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps in the south. We got airborne troop tactics with airdrop weapons, paired heavy machine guns, airborne rally points, Guards airborne troops, and Sturmweg rocket runs versus Grand Offensive Overwatch and Elite Armored. Volkskriegskuhwagen there for Angreifen, double counter there for Borobadger. And as always, a big thanks to my Patreon supporters. Without them, the Propagandacast would not be possible. So big thanks to those and their support. Any other people who wish to support Propagandacast can also do via Patreon, or they can do it via PayPal. Would make me, and of course, Battle the Kitty Cat by extension, very happy. Links in the description. And finally, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, of course, helps out as well by spreading the video out further. So, Kuhwagen East here, following up the center here for Angreifen. With this kind of build, I expect 4 conscripts. I mean, you could go 3 conscripts engineers, but typically you want to like maximize the SV40s here, which typically means 4 conscripts. Then again, he could be planning Guards airborne troops, in which case he may stick to 3 conscripts, but we still go for 4. Western Point ceased with the conscripts under Borobadger's glorious Marxist command. Fulls coming down the center here for Angreifen. Eastern field point there being seized. And we got a bit of skirmishing around the centre between Angreifen and Borobadger, though neither side, in particular Borobadger, is not really keen on it. And it's also important as a Soviet, you're typically much more cautious in how you engage. Like typically looking to either have the advantage, or you're typically looking to get away, unless your opponent's really forcing your hand. So we can see Angreifen is trying to force such an engagement by putting most of his forces towards the carve points. The question is, will Borobadger try and absorb this head on? Will he try and bait Angreifen into attacking and then flanking behind him with a significant amount of force? But it does look like he's kind of trying to absorb it, but without any heavy cover, this becomes slightly tricky here. Particularly the Sturmpioneers join in, which of course is exactly what they're going to do. More Volksgrenadiers, got the 4 comps there for Borobadger. So not the best engagement here, only light cover. You spin me right around, baby, right around, like a record, baby, right around. Anyways, I don't know why, but when them 2 corpses down each other, for some reason they get intertwined and just go off like weird, spinning top. One of the many oddities of the Communist to physics engine. Many oddities. Anyways. Troops that are being murdered out. Again, Borobadger's kind of holding up, but it's coming at a fairly high price to him. But ultimately, he's able to push through here. I think partly Angreifen could have been a bit more aggressive. But oh well. I'll wait. Borobadger, of course, now with the momentum they send again, most of Angreifen's forces they're routing. In fact, the entire force is now routed. He can now swing ahead and go straight for the carve point. And Angreifen lacks any forces to substantially stop this attack. So, truck on the way there for Angreifen, the schwere Wehrmacht-Schlepper. Barbed wire here for Borobadger and the cavalry's attempted cut barbed wire there. Bit of skirmishing here. The need 3 drops dead. Of course, all's worth noting here, Borobadger is very consistently merging conscripts and engineers. So, of course, in this case, it gets a bit silly because the engineers are getting focused down while they're wiring off, and that means they take extra damage while they're doing anything besides shooting their guns. Truck moving forward here. Angreifen, of course, having none of this. Sandbags in the east could lay down some sandbags. There we go. In fact, has done that. Thumbs up to Borobadger. Kuhwagen forces rushing in there now. But good counter push here by Borobadger. Was able to successfully rout Angreifen here. And certainly, the argument here really should have any problem. Then shouldn't have tried to make the attack. He could try and play it around. He could make use of the terrain here, outmaneuver Borobadger instead. So, anyways, more sandbags here. So, of course, a sharp play there by Borobadger. One of the great advantages of the Soviets with the basic infantry, they have access to the very large sandbag position, which is good because, you know, it's just large. Like, it's very easy to get your infantry behind it and very unlikely to, like, really stick about there. So, very solid there. Despite, you know, looking more like someone, you know, someone put together for, like, you know, 5th grade school project the night before. Why, yes, Mr. Teacher, I spent the entire week on this. First airdrop weapon there for Borobadger and the Red Army, the SVD-40 semi-automatic rifle. Will represent a significant upgrade to the conscripts. Pushing back the Fulton on the sea. Was also fairly popular with German troops before they got the G43 themselves, because, you know, more firepower is, in most cases, by the average infantryman, seized upon as something obviously very good. Though it actually, for quite some time, you know, the higher commands throughout, like, most armies for, like, decades kind of figure, you know what, if we give them more rate of fire on the rifles, they're just going to waste the bullets. So, fun fact there. Sturmpion moving forwards. Constantly being pushed back by the Sturmpion here. Still a relatively strong position here, and Angreifen lacking like any significant firepower to push it out here is going to cause struggle. It doesn't like any artillery. Flamethrowers, there's also the Brandhandgranate, but that can somewhat be dodged. It's not super effective here. Against this current positioning here by Borobadger. Another push for the center. Flak half-track gets in the way. There's definitely going to be a problem here for Borobadger. More SVT-40s. Charging forwards here at the German infantry. Again, trying to defend his car point, trying to defend his fuel flow. That said, the flamethrower team, of course, here from Borobadger is going to make this much tougher. Also, again, note merging the non-upgraded conscripts with the one for the upgrade. Thumbs up to Borobadger. Really sharp play, and typically not we see so much from serve players even there. Like most of the, you know, consistently merged with engineers, but, you know, say you have like upgraded squad but non-upgraded, they're surprisingly not going to do that a lot. So sharp play there by Borobadger, sharp play. Could of course go for an airdrop guards airborne squad, but something tells me he doesn't even intend to do that anytime soon. Of course, we can go for the T7 now. We got the flak half-track finally out for Angreifen. Sandbags up again. Very consistent sandbagging, as you might have noticed here from Borobadger. And certainly, most higher level serve players will be very consistent about sandbagging. Some aren't though, but like on average, like most higher ranked serve players are, you know, they go for conscripts obviously, very keen on getting down a lot of sandbags. T70 light tank there for Borobadger, almost done. More SVT-40s. Once the west of being ceased, we've got Sturmgewehrs up for Angreifen's infantry, still no commander. The longer this goes on, the more I'm thinking Overwatch here or Elite Armored versus Borobadger, though we'll of course have to see if that is what he is intending. Can't support with the flak half-track, T70 out for Borobadger. Rolling straight for the flak half-track. Obviously, Angreifen currently having no anti-tank weapons is going to have a hard time stopping this. He's going to have to go for a Kettenwerfer, obviously. Bit surprising he didn't actually go for that, where rather went straight for the individual after the flak half-track. Since, you know, around the center of the market is typically where you should expect a T-center from most serve players, so definitely an odd choice here by Angreifen considering the circumstances. And that's going to ultimately cost him the flak half-track here, and the T-center, meanwhile, as you might notice, it's going to take next to no damage, so definite punish here for Angreifen for, again, a odd choice. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of Overwatch players go for the Indie alongside the flak half-track, but even there, like, you typically don't do that before you got out, like, something to protect your flak half-track from the obvious Soviet light tank. And on top of that, he lost Indie 54. Angreifen going for another flak half-track. He's also crucially still making progress in the west, so theoretically, he could still turn this around, but, like, this is pretty bad here, and again, I think a notable operational misstep here by Angreifen again with the flak half-track into the MD-34 with no anti-tank weapons, and of course worth noting, going for a second flak half-track here, but still not a Kettenwerfer, so I mean, he needs to definitely be much sharper with that T-70 going for, you know, flak half-track going forwards. He also needs Panzerschrecks minimum. But if he can, like, control the fuel points, he might be able to turn this around anyways, but it's definitely, like, a pretty bad spot Angreifen more or less managed to put himself into. like you typically want, again, against a Soviets around the same min mark, something to deal with like a very likely T-70 there, unless like you're really far ahead and you've really been able to deny them fuel. You can get away with it, but like, assuming you're not in that position, you've got to prepare for the T-70, otherwise it will turn the game around. As you can see, Borobadger was able to do so expertly versus Angreifen. Like, again, even like a simple Panzerschreck there would have been a huge help here for Angreifen. So, and again, I know most people go for, again, you know, anti-tank gun, but again, you can arguably try for Panzerschrecks if you have faith in them. For the Ketten Panzerbüchse. Still, bit of a turnaround here by Angreifen. As you can see, they're partly again good map control here, allowed him to attack from other angles, which Borobadger was not prepared for. Getting back the MD-34 and might even be able to finish off the T-70. So again, despite a disaster situation here, you can turn them around there if you sort of like, you know, got the tactical awareness and, you know, the reasonable situational call me to pull it off. So, nice comeback here from Angreifen. He didn't get the T-70 though. Opting to treat the MD-34 before he loses it, but like, for the most part, I'd say that was like, you know, a pretty efficient, like, you know, turnaround from an otherwise bad position he created himself in the first place. It obviously doesn't mean you can like just get away with, you know, doing, you know, again, questionable things, but it's not a bad skill to have, because ultimately, you know, you are going to make mistakes sometimes, and then being able to like come back from them is not a bad skill to have either. You'll also notice that it's actually a skill a lot of higher ranked players have, because again, all players make mistakes, but again, the sort of things, you know, again, you'll notice some of the really good players have is that ability to like, you know, go, okay, I made a mistake, but I can still like, you know, turn around if I do these things. So again, thumbs up there to Angreifen. Again, not good move he made previously, but again, he was able to turn around despite of that. So, you know, good work. We got a heavy airdrop machine gun there, and we got Angreifen with Overwatch. Likely just going for the sector assault, maybe the howitzer. Probably not the Jaegers, but yeah, I don't know. Not a huge fan, I do think, of this commander choice, honestly, at this stage. I honestly think airborne, or not, I mean airborne, elite true armor might have been better here for the Panzer commander that he chose. I think those would have been very good handy elements here for Angreifen. Maybe like grand offensive again also. Panzer commander, infant assault out from the Obsergarden, smoke bombs. I mean, theoretically like a Tiger tank, but either way, though, the ultra fun got the kidney out here for Angreifen, shot down Borobadger's T-70 light tank. West side here constantly up there for Borobadger, trying to sneak up here. But, well, the flank half tank makes a deep flank much more hazardous. It is quite good at dealing with this deep flanks, thanks again, like it's 360 arc of fire. So, Borobadger here, suddenly not quite as able, I think, just to force breakthroughs against Angreifen. Much tougher situation for him now here versus Angreifen in the German army. Not impossible, of course, but tough. Quite tough. I kept retreating, Schwerpanzer called the carve point. My apologies about that. Still dealing with a cold, which is so far affecting my throat quite aggressively. Trying to rest my voice as much as possible, but you know, gotta put those videos out as much as possible, otherwise YouTube's gonna really start treating me badly. Because I'm not, you know, the biggest YouTuber's already like giving me like a pretty rough treatment as it is. So it is important for me to put out videos on a daily basis. Plus, you know, it's a goal I've always set for myself, so you know. Small thing there. Well, anyways. T-70 the Falcon is murdering our way there. Up north here, pumping with the conscripts. Back here to reinforcing healing for Angreifen and the German army. T-70 fixed up here for Borobadger. Obersoldaten der Angreifen. Die mächtige Obersoldaten. If you're also wondering why this is like any unit really called that, it was more like a rank, I think, in the Waffen-SS, but as sort of terms of unit organization, not really specifically on paper. That's set by like mid-1944 to 45. There's sort of a thing happening in the German army where that typically they create a divisional elite reserve of infantry composed of like the best men from picked across like various companies. So you can sort of argue the Obersoldaten in that sense represent, you know, some further elite hand-picked Panzer Grenadiers from like a Panzer division to form into like a unit like that. bit of a note there. T-Sun rushing forward here, East level 12 kills. As always, the T-Sun remains an incredibly powerful light tank and probably the best light tank in the game. Schwerpunkt was authorized. Can he finally take out the T-70? Oh, the Panzerschreck narrowly misses. Close call. Borobadger may, of course, want to start taking up soon, and I feel like Angreifen, of course, may want to try and hit the fuel point on the west again. Of course, the T-70 makes this a bit more difficult, but theoretically what he could do is actually sneak up some Sturm pioneers ahead, lay down some mines wide here, and then send another squad to grab the points, acting as bait, causing Borobadger rush in the T-70, hit a mine, and the Sturm pioneers pop out, goes, you know, surprise mother flipper, and hits them with a Panzerschreck. So that could be like a tactical option there to commit to try and deal with the T-70. And certainly the terrain here kinda allows for it because most players tend not to figure here. Plus the you can sort of hide here and here with the mines, I think, fairly easily and stuff there. So tactically I think it could be an option there for Angreifen to consider if he does. He probably doesn't. Big push here with this 40 constantly to the opposite line. There go Button Grenade, they get Balde Ladnung. Basically a bunch of bundled M24 Stillhandgrenade warheads bound to go around a bigger one, a regular one with a stick attached to. It was actually used in World War I as a way of clearing out trenches and as an early anti-tank charge, and also served in World War II in the early stages of the war when tank armor was lighter as an anti-tank charge there as well. Fun fact. So it's like, you drop it on, say, the engine block on the rear of a tank. That's something I'll knock out the engine, at which point the tank's not going to go anywhere. So, fun fact there. Fun fact. Mind you, the Germans had to come up with a lot of creative ways to knock out tanks at the start of the war. Operation Barbarossa, as they realised a lot of the Soviet tanks couldn't be dealt with easily by the anti-tank guns, like, the average ones, so they had to come up with a lot of inventive ways to knock out tanks. They had like an entire guides, like you could try like wrap smoke grenades around the gun barrel, blind the tank, for example, was like one way they could do it. And of course, just like taking an entire jerry can with a smoke grenade so you act as a fuse, pop it on the back of it, and just light the engine on fire that way. I mean, who needs Molotov cocktails when you got like Molotov bombs? So, a few fun facts there as well. But Borobadger is keen on these head-on attacks here versus Angreifen. I mean, obviously wants control here, but at the same time he does risk bleeding himself dry here versus Angreifen. He's not careful. Also worth noting, in neither side has really considered any artillery versus the other one, like no mortars, like infantry guns. Borobadger will probably go for Katyusha though, but Angreifen can't go for the Katyusha each. I mean, he's going to have to go for the Stukas-Fuss, and as we've sort of gone over several times, the Stukas-Fuss is a very skill-intensive weapon. Even like the right hands can, still whiff quite aggressively. So we'll have to see though. Still, Borobadger's getting good map play with Angreifen now. Panther 4 there for the Germans, grabbing some few people conscripts. He's being shot to bits. Katyusha there for Borobadger. Because again, he wants like state of breakthrough here versus Angreifen. He wants the artillery for that. Panzerfaust the T-70, he could have a chance of taking that this time around, but likely though. Again, the T-70 will escape. Contra the pushback here, of pushing back the Fulton Leaves, got right there by Borobadger. Panther 4 almost done here. Katyusha cancelled though. Guessing Borobadger kind of went, hang on, he might just hit me with something. I can't just deal with using Katyusha. So I'd say that was a pretty good call there by Borobadger. Goes instead for the Issue-5 tank destroyer. Probably also figuring he can just snipe the Schwerpanzer quarters for the Issue-5. Which, if that's what I thought, I think is also a pretty good call. But there you go. Panzerfaust for Angreifen. Seasoning some people with the Rakete in the Alpha. Grand Western Point there. Pinlamata machine gun on the way.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
They should have found they're almost done for Borobadger and the Red Army. Machine gun push back, flak half track moving in. Field gun ready, up to the handful, punches through the front armor with a pretty vicious shot. And we got the H5 tank started for Borobadger and the Red Army. Plant Hand Grenade there falls onto the open. No, though, the Plant Hand Grenade, from my understanding, was actually a pretty rare weapon because, well, the Germans make Molotovs of their own. Like, you know, like, while the Germans are known for original a lot of the solutions, you know, sometimes they just go, yeah, that works. And the Molotov was just one of those cases. They actually industrially made them, converting, I think, alcohol factories to just making Molotovs instead. So, fun fact. All of a sudden, their cluster being wiped out. Dead. Great kill there for Borobadger. Removing the orbs, and of course removes a significant anti-infantry threat here for Borobadger's infantry. So that is pretty big there. Good shot from Kennedy on the T-70 light tank. Again, I feel like Angreifen needs more pressure on the left side of the map. Like, you know, he did so well early despite that big push with the center because he was exerting pressure on the left flank here. So, a bit surprised Angreifen seems to have forgotten about that. More than that, no. I mean, they are pretty good infantry replace. They should farm in 40 for Borobadger. Flank half tank moving up, Panther being fixed up. Center they're being grabbed by the conscripts, halfway to veteran free in the east on those gentlemen. Pantherfall's almost fixed up there for Angreifen. But yeah, so far we really haven't seen any of the commanders. It really feels like he's going for just for sector assault, maybe the howitzer. T-34 there for Borobadger on the way. Air support called in and we got the rocket strafe there. Almost got the T-70 does escape. Flat out there. Nearly avoids getting filled with a large set of rockets there by Borobadger's Stormovik. He's following up, hit backed up with the field gun. Shoots misses the Panther 4 though. And the left side continues just not really seeing much action. Okay, Borobadger comes to the T-34 some 6 for the Katyusha. Decides he wants some rockets now. Fix up the T-70 light tank here for Borobadger. All of a sudden, the field gun here in the centre. Round western pump with a full Skanadira. Bit of quality otherwise, bit of skirmish in these that their cannons caught here by Borobadger's conscripts. Katyusha's almost done. We'll have to see what Angreifen goes for next. Panther, more Panther 4s. Okay, cancel the Katyusha for the T-34. Clearly, we can see there's some hesitation by Borobadger. He's really uncertain as to how to, like, you know, tackle Angreifen and the Orbital Commander of ST. So sort of, you know, swinging back and forth here between, you know, respectively the T-34 and the Katyusha. But he's finally pushing westwards, but crucially didn't bring in anything to do with that T-70, despite, you know, probably being able to, should have been able to expect the T-70 being like the first responder here to anything in the west. Pantherfall there definitely moves into a bad spot here. Nearly escapes though. Still heading the western field on there, thumbs up to Angreifen. On the east side, we got a bit of skirmishing there. Could try and push up further here now. And there you go. Finally caught in a tank here, the T-34 some 6 medium tank. A medium tank, ladies and gentlemen. T-34 on the east side here, backing up the Engineers, possibly in the assault towards the east. Not that there's a lot to assault at the moment. More Molotovs against the Volksgrenadiers. Panther 4 once more in need of repairs, obviously. Having just served as target practice for most of Borobadger's anti-tank gunners. Good shot from the punching through the H-5's frontal armour. Strap punch, you can see they are getting snapped out with the H-5 and the field gun together, using the T-70 spot ahead. Thumbs up there, very smart play there by Borobadger. certainly punishes Angreifen pushing his Schwerpunkt moves out so far. He's even rushing in the T-34-6. I imagine in part to actually draw away attention from this, so a bit risky, but it works out. It certainly saves. There we go, Schwerpunkt is gone, Angreifen punished. This also, of course, means now that likely Angreifen go for the mechanized wreck and start going for the King Tiger, but that's going to take some time. It means Borobadger may have plenty of time then tonight to worry about more Obersoldaten or another Panther 4 or a Panther. So, we'll of course have to see what Angreifen exactly does. Does he do that, or will he actually try and rebuild the Schwerpunkt quarters? But likely he will try and go for the King Tiger. That is what most Oberkommando players will do in this situation, in fact. Katyusha now for Borobadger. Heading for that eastern fuel point. Going towards the western point. Troops reinforcing healing. MG-34 on the move here for Angreifen. Close to Veteran 3. Very good there for the gunner crew. Less good for the guards on the receiving end. Eastern point that makes use for the Sturmpioniere. Oh, close run there for Borobadger's T-34-6 crew. Panther going for the T-34 shot bounces. And there we go, Katyusha finally out for Borobadger after several aborted attempts. It finally gets through. You can imagine the drivers like finally a bit frustrated and all this time, being almost there, then being told to go back. It's like, come on. In the center conflict back with the Obersoldaten near Dischka away there, tearing through here. Angreifen, and there you go, full on rocket shotgun barrage. Utterly obliterates several German infantrymen, almost wipes at least one squad there. That has got to be the slowest ramming attempt. So it's like, barely hit any speed. It's like, somehow still managed to stop the Panther 4. And there you go, might lose it to the HQ5. Despite the, rockets, they're missing it. Close call there. But still, despite all this, Angreifen's activity to push back Borobadger into his base and hit the cutoff point. Kind of impressive, plus he didn't lose the Panther 4. But yeah, mechanized reaction there, so Angreifen will absolutely be strong for the King Tiger. And of course, the trick now for Borobadger is to apply some pressure to Angreifen in the meanwhile before he gets it out. Once again, that's going to have to be a lot of resource that does nothing. Not also squad right there. Again, the T's going to continue to be an absolutely amazing investment. We got Angreifen with the Jaegers, I think in part just to take over the role of the Ups and get something a bit more elite than the Volksgunde is. Of course, he should upgrade him with a G43. They're kind of pointless. We even got for the Fatherland. Wow, I think Angreifen's getting a bit desperate here. I can very, very rarely see this ability used, and even more rarely used correctly. This kind of counters that, but the problem here, of course, is he just basically had to retreat anyways, and it also delayed his T-43 sniper rifle upgrade for the Jaegers, so they're just going to be taking even longer towards, being remotely useful at this point. Early in the match, unupgraded Jaegers can kind of work, but almost 30 minutes into the game versus a lot of upgraded conscripts, you're going to need that marksman rifle. You're absolutely going to need it. Yeah, there we go. Got that rifle on the way there. Katyusha barrage here from Borobadger right into the heart here of Ungun position. Okay, he's into the base. There's where the rockets. That said, as you might have noticed, he's firing from very far away, and he's firing at a target he can't see, meaning the scatter on the Katyusha rocket is pretty much as far as it can be. That said, he could have gone for a creeping barrage here. That would obviously been a lot more accurate, but of course still required see where his opponent is, so specifically hit the targets. Almost got to wipe in the conscripts though. But again, the creeping barrage is currently a bit busted because it's you'll basically chain up like 4 or 5 precision strikes from the Katyusha. And the precision strike used to be the ability the Katyusha did have. They removed all that from the search because, you know, that was way too good. And technically also very ahistorical. So it's really much, but not that accurate. Damaging the Panther 4. Good hit from the issue 5 on the flak half track. Got the flak half track too. Situation for Angreifen is definitely starting to fall apart here, but again he's stalling for the King Tiger. He is betting everything on the Tiger 2. The Königstiger. Jaeger heading westwards there. Grabbing the eastern point here. Another T-34-6 for Borobadger and the Red Army. Looks as if everything that comes with part at close range. Assault fire there from the field gun. Good shot. Got ace level.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
Fixing up that Panther 4 again. Borobadger got both viewpoints, so a lot of ways as we got South Angreifen victory points. Whilst the Angreifen still has the victory point lead, though, as you might have noticed, it's not exactly a big one. Not a big one at all. Heading for the western point here with the Jaegers hiding out. That said, not a lot of places they can hide, so you know you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes. That's just the Jaegers' position. Rocket finally in fed for there by the eastern nation point up north. He Panther going for the T-70 can Angreifen finally deliver that crushing blow here to Borobadger's light tank, and no, the T-54 plus the counter C ruined the entire thing there for Angreifen, saving Borobadger's T-70 for another day of terror against the German army.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Nice concussive grenade, but they have to retreat. Oh, what happened here? No idea, but the T-70 does get knocked out from a Panzerfaust. Wow.
We have lost one of
No
our
idea how that happened. I'm guessing it's just like looking to get like as far away from that Panzer IV and then inadvertently send right into a Panzerfaust.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Folks are trying to deal with the Dishka, but they're taking a lot of damage. They do successfully pull it off here. Angreifen meanwhile is fairly close to that King Tiger. Those would definitely help having a fuel point here to get just a bit closer faster. We got another T-34-6 for Borobadger and the Red Army. Borobadger at this point must be expecting the King Tiger anytime soon, no? Because like he's seen literally nothing else after he destroyed that Schwer punted quarters again, knowing like the average Oberkommandos player will again in this situation go with the King Tiger. Like he must be, you know, really thinking about that King Tiger. We are a bit over a minute away now from the King Tiger for Angreifen, assuming current resource income sticks.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Wow. Yeah, still roughly a minute. Over a minute.
T-34
Which you find the center here, and you fit for the Angreifen. And the Kegner they got wiped. That's a great kill there for Borobadger, of course, removes a significant thorn in the side there. Goes for another. Wait, what? He's going for another Kegner for now when he's so close to the King Tiger? Really? Hard. That definitely strikes me as a bit odd. That really strikes me as odd there by Angreifen. No, we cancelled it. I think he realised, hang on, what am I doing? I'm like moments away from that big tank I really like to go for. Why am I not going for that instead of a Kednev at this point? But there you go. King Tiger now available to, oh, actually seconds away there. He failed to salvage some of that stuff, but that could help him get it actually out a bit faster. Meanwhile though, Borobadger is just shooting Angreifen forces to pieces. He's constantly enforcing troops, but now he has the fuel, he just needs the manpower. Borobadger, I think, is always just dominating the field. It's a really tough spot to be in for Angreifen. Really tough spot. Let's sneak in the Panther 4, and there we go. Now you can call him the King Tiger, the Tiger 2. Or Tiger B. Yeah, goes to the conscripts here, skirmishing. And you've had force corporate units to clean out some Angreifen's mines. Thumbs up to mining. Jaeger's being pushed out to the conscripts. King Tiger catches cops in the east. Would want to add up him on machine gun, but yeah, the situation for Angreifen, even with the King Tiger, he's still tough. Borobadger has a lot of firepower. He's got rocket strikes. He's got T-Fed force that can ram the King Tiger in a pinch. He's also crucially got most of the map, so gonna be a tough one here for Angreifen and his King Tiger versus Borobadger in the Red Army. Panther 4, they're half HP Veteran 4. Good shot, there we go, ramming the King Tiger here with the T-Fed force, some 6 rocket strike inbound, plus we've got the East 5, they're firing through the King Tiger's thick frontal armor. Really bad spot to be in here for Angreifen. The T-Fed 4 that does go down. Ultimately, ramming yourself into the front of a King Tiger is typically not known as a strategy of survival. That's what he calls suicide by King Tiger. T-Fed running forwards. King Tiger calls them down your repairs, but the question is, can Angreifen afford to wait to get the King Tiger repaired? And I think he's realising he can't really. It's a really rough spot to be in here for Angreifen as a Borobadger. Damage taking the Panther 4, Sturm Pioneer pushed back. He could of course upgrade this with a pair of Pioneers, but for some reason Angreifen actually not done that, which is a bit surprising. King Tiger almost knocked out here. Got the East Valley going for the King Tiger. I think he's going to be it. He also got the filling round from the other side. So yeah, the King Tiger's going to be sandwiched between two potent anti-tank weapons. Got the field gun though, but there's still the extra fire moving up behind the King Tiger in a rare tank destroyer flank like this. Thumbs up to Borobadger, and that King Tiger is absolutely toast. They ain't considering the HU-5's gun barrel is far up the King Tiger's tailpipe. Destiny 4 there for the Panther 4. So yeah, Angreifen is, I think, safe to say, dead in the water here versus Borobadger. Unless he might try and drag out the fight a bit, but I'd say Angreifen's chances of winning this at this stage are pretty much 0 or as close to 0 as possible under most circumstances. Short of, oh, I don't know, divine intervention. Panther 4 moving forwards there. Got the Panther 4 knocked out. And so yeah, further just rubbish is chasing for Angreifen. Panther passing initiative 5, but meanwhile the rest of his forces are getting utterly just buried here by Borobadger. So there we go, further wipes here. Angreifen's dead at a disco here. Yeah, at this point I think we're just waiting for the game to realise Angreifen's left the building. That's going to take a few more moments I think, and there we go, GG, game over. And there we go, that was a fierce fight, but again, Angreifen, despite I think some early mistakes we had to bounce back, I think forgot I think the overall strategy there. I think at some point we should get a lot of Borobadger chance in the game around and beat Angreifen silly. So I hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. Again, consider donating or pledge on Patreon, support Propagandacast. That will help me out a lot. I'm off for now. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, and hopefully my voice will be a bit better off. So thank you all. Cheers, everyone.